Infiltration of our planet by humanoid aliens and hybrids. Independence Day, The War of the Worlds are some of the movies that have been associated with humanoid aliens invasion, and in these movies we're discussing attacks that affect the entire Earth, cities that are leveled, deaths of millions. It's possible, however, that the invasion has already begun, according to some. One may wonder how this could be possible. Over the years, though, ufologists and researchers have interviewed individuals who've revealed their hazardous humanoid alien encounters on multiple occasions over the years. These same individuals, though, came to the conclusion that there are vast numbers of extraterrestrials who are our adversaries, who look at least a little bit like us, and that they are slowly but surely making their way through our towns and cities. So what if there are extraterrestrial entities living among us and are so similar to humans that they are difficult to distinguish unless examined carefully? The scenario is all centered around some of the most heinous creatures who are hell-bent on transforming our Earth into their own personal world, as some claim, and these humanoid aliens are not completely similar to humans, but to an extent so that one might find it difficult to differentiate between humans and aliens. Black-eyed children, one example. The creepiest modern-day humanoid aliens, some claim they can be they can be distinguished from humans at a glance, or if you're someone who's constantly on the phone. However, if you look closely, the skin will appear to be composed of plastic, and even some of them disguise their balding appearance by wearing wigs and hoodies. The black-eyed are named so for a reason. Their eyes are just like the ones on the cover of Whitley Strieber's classic 1987 book, Communion. In addition, those scary kids keep trying to break into people's homes, and they've also been spotted across the world, according to eyewitness accounts. And then you have Men in Black. Similar to the black-eyed children, the Men in Black and the Women in Black are eerie characters who bear a slight resemblance to humans. In spite of this, they're able to find their way into our villages, cities, and even our malls. They're almost everywhere, and according to many, they're just hypothetical, but this is not true, as several incidents confirm their presence. A weird incident occurred in Manhattan bookstore early 1897, and one can read about it in the incident in Whitney Strieber's book Transformation, published in 1988, and Ned Connery's report on Communion 1989. Both great works, and in this case, the witness saw a woman who was disguised, veiled, and camouflaged, and who left a long-lasting effect on the individual. The woman was accompanied by a man. In late January 1987, a man named Bruce Lee, who worked as a senior editor at New York publishing house called William Morrow and Company, went into a bookstore on the Upper East Side of Manhattan with his wife. It was cold, dark, and icy outside. It was Womrath's, which used to be on Lexington Avenue, but it's now closed. On that fateful Saturday afternoon, that was not the only strange thing that happened. Both a strange woman and a man were barely 5 feet tall, or even smaller. Huge black sunglasses and scarves covered their faces, while hats were tucked tightly under their chins. They appeared to begin reading the book at a rapid pace, with the intention of correcting Strieber's mistakes out loud for Lee benefits. Since Lee worked for the publisher that had just been releasing Communion, he naturally approached the two and asked them what was wrong with the book. Then, when the woman suddenly looked up, Lee noticed through the woman's sunglasses that her eyes were not large but enormous. By his own admission, Lee received the mad dog vibe from the woman, which made his hackles on the back of his neck stand up. My mom and I had gone to the mall on Christmas Eve for a couple of last-minute stocking stuffer type gifts. We actually knew what we wanted, so we parked outside JCPenney's on the side where those goods were. We went in and immediately noticed that in late afternoon, there were only a few shoppers. We picked out our gifts and got in line at the cashier in back of two other people. We could easily see the exit door and the sun in the parking lot. We were facing that way. The glass doors opened and two very tall, thin women entered. They had long, almost waist-length blonde hair, parted in the middle on the top, and it was thin in texture. Their skin was also pale, and I did not notice any makeup, but each had huge piercing blue eyes. Their gait was odd, like they were too tall, approximately 6'1", to walk smoothly. I was already an investigator for MUFON, so I was aware of oddities in people and had done background searches for the federal government, so was trained to be observant. They were pushing one of those umbrella-style strollers with no fancy attachments, just the hammock-type bed, wheels and handles. I noticed that they had no purses or accessories such as a diaper bag to carry diapers or bottles, etc. The women moved slowly, it seemed, and drew my attention to the stroller. There was a baby blanket in the bottom portion, and on the top of the head of the baby, no bigger than a small grapefruit, pasty-colored skin, no noticeable nose, a line for a mouth, and huge dark eyes taking up most of the rest of his head. I wondered if the baby was deformed, but knew this was not the case somehow. The baby appeared alert and was staring up at me. My mom bumped me with her arm to get my attention and said, "What's wrong with that baby?" I felt I needed to tell the person in front of me because we had been talking with her about being slow in finishing up our shopping. When I tapped her on the shoulder, I then was shocked to see not only her, but the lady in front of her and the cashier were kind of frozen in place. Everything seemed to be moving in extremely slow motion around us. This is from UFO author investigator Denise Stoner. So incidents like this are not very rare. Whether people like it or not, an increasing number of nasty, dangerous entities that resemble us but are not us are on the rise, it seems. The level of infiltration is not as high as it could be right now, but that does not preclude it from achieving enormous heights. The conflict, quote-unquote, could begin at any time when these things are revealed for what humanoid aliens truly are and how they appear human. Should be very cautious and aware of their surroundings. This is from Infinity Explorers on Humans Be Free. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.